Right, hello and welcome to this week's angling vlog. You join me on a Friday evening after work. It's been a short 4-day week in work after the bank holiday, and we're back out on the bank of the canal searching for one of them elusive canal carp. As you've seen in the last video, we went over Mark's setup, and thank you for all the nice comments on that video. It was fantastic for it to be so well received, and hopefully it's give you a little bit of an insight into the approaches carp anglers take to avoid the bream. My approach, I'll be honest with you, is an approach that I see as a normal approach that somebody that doesn't go out all the time fishing for carp would do, with the baiting up and with the rigs that they put out. And obviously I, caught the bream. This week, bit of a different approach. I've got one rod that I'm hoping just to put solely out for carp. I'm hoping that rod, if it goes, will be a carp, but obviously there's potential to catch everything, and I'm going to bait that up slightly different. So what we'll do now is we'll look at the two spots that I'm baiting up and the bait that I'm putting on them spots to try and target different species. Right, so it's 6 o'clock now. Healthy breeze on the canal. The blog for this week's just gone live, which was an epic battle with a carp. I'm hoping for another one tonight if I get lucky. This is probably going to be aimed at the bream, but we'll have the potential to catch a carp. It's going out there, and I put a marker down there which I'm going to pin down so I know in the night where to stand and underarm cast. It's clear there, and I'm going to put out 6 pouches of each on that line. Hemp from Cheshire Particle, corn and pellets. So I'm just going to get that bait out now and we'll have a look where I'm putting the second rod. Right, and my inside line is going to be a boilie line. I'm literally going to be off the end of these pads that are coming up here, and I've fed that with about 13 or 14 boilies, 2 handfuls of corn and a bit of Cheshire Particle hemp, and that is aimed solely at the carp. Obviously it's got the potential to catch bream, but with no pellet on that line, I'm hoping that that's going to be my carp line for anything that comes along the inside margin in the night. So there you can see one spot in the edge there, and then one spot on the far bank by that tree. They're going to be my 2 spots that I'm going to try tonight. So as you can see there, I've got a margin spot on boilies with a bit of hemp and a few grains of corn over the top. No pellets whatsoever. I'm hoping the no pellet approach will deter the bream completely. And on the far bank line, obviously I'm going to put out the same rig as I did last week with the pellets, the corn and the hemp. And I hope we're getting a few fish. I'm quite happy to catch a couple of bream tonight, and that is my type of fishing. If a carp comes along, then fantastic, but yeah, hopefully we'll get a few fish on that rod tonight, and there'll be a few fish for the blog. One thing with the spot we are on now is it's going to be pitch black tonight, so I don't think there's going to be any shots of me holding up the bream. If we get any, they'll be on the mat. It's about 6:30. The rods are in, the baits are in. So the rig that I put out on the night for the carp: short hook link of ESP strip tees, a sleeve obviously to aid separation on the cast and to prevent tangles. I was dropping the rig right in the edge, so I wasn't too worried about that. I think it's a Nash sinker, and I've stripped the braid back, a size 6 hook, and that is a mainline high vis pink pop-up. And that was the rig that I was putting out on the carp line, hoping that on the principle that anything moved through, it can't help but miss it. So yeah, that is the rig that I put out on the carp line. Right, so one of the things I do like about the canal is the peace and the quiet. Once the people walking the dogs have gone and the people walking the banks jogging, you're getting on for 7 o'clock now, 8 o'clock, and it's just quieting down. And you can just imagine them carp working along the canal and the bream shoals beginning to, drop in the water and go on the hunt. And as you can see, you've got all the bright greens of spring. A far cry from the pike sessions that we did. But yeah, hopefully tonight we can pick up 1 or 2 fish. As I said, it is a different spot to last time, so getting a bite might be a bit unknown, but hopefully we can pick up one. So anyone who watches the channel regular knows I don't do any really, proper carping on the proper waters. So I'm learning all the lessons kind of as I'm going along. Last week was a bit on bait and how different baits can be used, and tonight most definitely that bird there, since I've put my bait in, it hasn't stopped diving on it. I am going to bait up just before dark, but already you can see him looking around and down he goes. He keeps coming up each time with a piece of sweet corn. But yeah, learning all the lessons, probably the hard way, but you don't learn until you do it. So I just sat back here hoping that if he can find it, Mr. Carp or Mr. Bream can. So getting up for 8 o'clock now, and there's that air of expectation now. As you can see, it's all gone very quiet. Just a pitter patter of rain on the roof of the brolly. Right, so that's where I'm going to be sitting tonight. I've got the bank stick ready in case you get a run. A few bits of clothing there because they've given the temperature a drop tonight. My bait in a bucket, a nice drink of orange juice for morning. A few bits and pieces in there, and my power bank. And there's the rods and the pellets. Obviously, we need to bait up and my landing net. And there's me unhooking mat. So just before dark, the predicted rain's moved in. You can hear it tapping on the brolly. And yeah, nice and dry underneath here, but hopefully we'll be getting wet going out to a run. So little edge, waiting till dark. The difference between what I did and what Mark did, waited for the ducks to disappear before he baits up. So just them little things that most carpers do normal without thinking. But anyone new like me, I just fed the ducks for half an hour. Right, the light's just gone off on that, but right on dark, the right hand rod, which is on the method feeder, has just started coming alive. Lots of little taps and beeps, which almost certainly means a few fish have arrived on that bed of feed. Most likely going to be bream, judging by the other night. But yeah, good to see some fish in the area. So hopefully it won't be too long before we've got a fish on the bank. So Mark's just finished baiting up, and as you heard while we were doing it, a couple of beeps. He's got his light on, and seems like it's coming alive, doesn't it, Mark? All of a sudden, soon as lights cut, darks come.
Yeah, well, knowing what I know of this canal, it's usually around this time it starts to pick up. Any time from now till 6 in the morning, really.
We've been here for about 3 hours without a tap, haven't we? We've had the baits in.
Yeah, as soon as that dust has gone, it's started to liven up, really.
You know, you've had a couple of beeps, haven't you? And I've had a couple of beeps, so yeah, it's boding well for the night ahead. But fingers crossed.
Not even baited up till just now.
Yeah.
Obviously, I put my rig out with a bag of attraction on, but I've just put a little bit of visual attraction out there now, just now that the ducks have disappeared.
Yeah. A lesson learnt there, eh? Feed the ducks for 3 hours. They have had a good feed though, haven't they?
They have had a good feed. Well, they have on your spot anyway, they haven't on mine.
Yeah,
yeah. Anywhere near me.
And that's what I'm talking about, what I was trying to just say then. They're the little things that people who go carp, proper carp fishing all the time, and someone like me who just, chucks out a couple of method feeders, they're little edges that you learn along the way. And certainly next time, I'll be waiting a bit longer. First bream of the night. What is he? Probably 2 or 3 pound, normal stamp. It's about 10:30, so I'm just going to quickly get the rod back on the spot, because it is, it's bucketing down a bit now. Get the fish back, and get the bait back out again. But yeah, like I said, them little taps developed. That's a lovely bream to start the session. Let's get the rod back out. Right, so that fish come at about 10:10. And I said there was a lot of beeping before it, so there could be a few in the area, which is good to see. I had one beep on the inside rod, which is just on boilies and corn, so hopefully there's a few fish moving down there as well. I am hoping if that one goes, it is a carp though. If that one does go, my heart will go, for sure. But yeah, 10 past 10 and just got the first fish on the bank. So obviously this is not going to come out very well because it's dark, but this is a very different night to last weekend. Last weekend it was a scorching hot bank holiday, and tonight you can hear the trees rustling. There's a proper blow on the canal. It was flat calm last week. And so it won't record for too long because it's not going to come out very well in the final edit. But as you can hear, the trees rustling, bats flying overhead, and a proper breeze on the canal. Much different experience to last week for sure. Right, so I was just texting Mark saying I didn't think the rod was in a good spot, and it's just gone off while I was texting him. Just under £4, a smidgen under £4, and yeah, second fish of the night, and it's about 11:15. And it hasn't stopped raining for probably the last half an hour, so I'm going to get the rod back out and back under the brolly as quick as I can. Right, so it's about 12:30. The rod's just woke me up. I was miles away. Another bream, similar size, probably around the £4 mark. Just a few beeps on the rod and then it moved off. So yeah, 12:30 and the fourth one of the night. I just missed one about an hour ago. And the third fish. Let's get it back. Right, it's about 3:30 and the rod's gone again. Been a bit of a quiet night for a few hours, and then the rod's just out the blue pulled out the clip. Another bream. So let's get it back and get the rod back on the spot for dawn. Right, so it's 4:30 in the morning. As you can hear, the dawn chorus is in full swing and the mist just rising from the canal. It's a lovely time to be on the bank and the start of another day, and hopefully there's a carp out there in search of some breakfast. Just going to sit back and just take it all in. It's a lovely time to be on the bank. And this lovely dark bronze bream, I thought with the light up I'd do a proper vlog of it, because a lot of the ones in the night are just matte shots, because obviously there's not much light, it's pitch black. So yeah, a lovely dark bronze bream. I think it's the fourth one of the session, I think. And yeah, a lovely big back on it, and just over £4, which seems to be the average stamp on it, it looks like. So yeah, a lovely start to the morning. Right, so it's 8 o'clock in the morning now, and it's time for me to make a move. Got a couple of jobs to do today, and then I'll be back on here tonight with Mark again, chasing them elusive Canal Carp. In reflection, what was it, 4 bream, and I think we had 6 runs, I think. It's the third full night I've done on the bank. Last weekend we did 2 nights, and obviously last night was the third. Last night was a much different experience than the other 2. There was times in last night where the wind really got up, it was raining. It wasn't the comfortable experience that the previous weekend, where it was baking hot and quite warm evenings, was, and it was quite light during the night because it was so warm in the location. Here last night it was pitch black pretty much. which presented its own problems. Obviously, baiting up was a lot harder in the light of me phone. Casting your baits out to the spots was a lot harder, most certainly. But it was enjoyable, and I really did enjoy it. It was good. I managed a couple of hours sleep, which I didn't do on the last one. On the last episode that I did with Mark, the Friday night, I really struggled to settle and get my head down. I just couldn't get to sleep. I was switched on. I found it hard to sleep on the bank, but last night I found it much easier, and I feel better for it this morning. And Mark was right, you do need to get that kip on the bank if you're on for 2 nights. So yeah, a couple of jobs to do today. I'm going to put a bit of bait in before we leave on the 2 spots. It's about 6 o'clock. I'm about to put some bait out. Learning from last night's mistakes, I'm not going to put any corn out till last light. It's the same swim. Before I left this morning, I put a couple of pouches of pellet in. So I'm just going to put 6 of each in again at 6 o'clock. I am going to put the rod in tonight to see if I can pick up an early fish. But yeah, just going to bait up the swim now in preparation for later on. Right, so it's evening on night 2. It's 8 o'clock, and the baits are both rods are out now. Both baited up. I've got one in the margin on a boilie, and the far bank rod is on the bream rod with the method feeder again. Just before dark, I'm going to put some corn on the far bank rod. But now both rods are. I've had a couple of taps on the far bank rod already. And yeah, just a waiting game now. It's just starting to quieten down a bit. But like I say, just been chatting to Mark, and one of the things we both agreed on is it's a lot more alive tonight. There's small fish topping everywhere. It's a lot different. Last night there was a breeze on it and very bit wild with the rain. Tonight is a different night altogether. It's calm, a flat calm. The actual tow on the canal is in the opposite direction. And it's very similar to last Sunday morning when Mark had that fish, to be honest with you. That night was was still, and that's what it's like tonight. It's like a mill pond tonight. So yeah, the rods are out. Fingers crossed that we pick up a few fish in the night, and one of them between us is a carp. It would be fantastic. And yeah, I'll get back to you if we get a fish. Right, so it's about 8:45 now. I'm just going to put some corn out on the swim. There's been no sign of the coots for a while, so hopefully they're going to keep off me. And that's what I was saying there about fish topping. It's been a lot more active in this last hour. I've had a couple of taps on the rod already, which doesn't normally happen until just dark, 10 o'clock as it's going dark. It could be a busy night on the bank with that bream rod, potentially. And I say it's just beeped again. I've just heard it beeping down the bank, so I'm going to get this corn in and get back to it. One thing I have learned with this night fishing is you've got to think ahead, and that's a little marker for in the night from when I'm walking along, so I know that if I stand on that, I'm in line with the end of the tree, and I'm going to miss all the branches as long as I cast in a straight line. So I'm going to get back to the rods because I just had a couple of beeps. And fingers crossed, the next time you see me will be a bream or a carp in my hands. Right, so first fish of the night, and it come on the pink pop-up down the margin, and I must admit, my heart went when the rod went, because it's only got boilies on that rod. So yeah, a little small bream just to start the night. Let's get this guy back. It's about 10:15. don't know what it is tonight, but them coots have been like that for probably the last hour. Not heard them the last couple of nights, like, but tonight they just won't shut up, and it's constant. You just listen. It's been like that for probably the past hour. Right, so second fish of the night on the far bank line. Same stamp as last night, probably about the £4 mark. I'm not going to weigh it. And yeah, both rods working, and Mark's getting plenty of taps on his rod as well, so there's a few fish in the area. Hopefully Mr. Carp's hanging about as well. But second fish of the night, and let's get it back. Right, dead on midnight, and the rod's gone off again, another bream. It's just started to rain, so I'm going to get this one straight back and get back under the shelter, get the rod back out. Similar size to the last one. Right, it's 1:45 in the morning, and the rod just screamed off. I was miles away, snoring my head off, I think. And yeah, the rod, I was sure it was either a 10 shot or carp. It absolutely ripped off. But no, best bream of the night. Got to be getting on for £5 that one. We'll get the rod baited back up and back out on the spot, and let this guy go, and hopefully get another hour's kip. It's 10 to 3. Far bank rod again, just screamed off. And certainly on the feed tonight. Maybe it's the case that the second day of feed going in has got him on the feed in the area. I think it's number 5, and about 8 or 9 runs I think tonight. Same stamp as normal, like 4 to £5. Let's get it back. Right, so it's 8 o'clock in the morning now on the Sunday. We're just having a slow pack away. Time for a bit. Obviously after each session with all my fishing, there's got to come some evaluation and some thoughts on it. Over the 2 nights, plenty of action with the bream. Definite feeding period. It starts as soon as it goes dark. The taps start, and then you get your first run. So everything else must wake up at that point as well, you know, with your carp, your tench. So the Friday night was really cold. The temperature really dropped on Friday, on Saturday, you know, Saturday morning. Last night was a lot milder, and obviously that showed with the increase in action. And what you've got to remember with canal fishing compared to the lakes, and we're just talking to Mark about this, they're so big, and them carp are so nomadic. It could just be that they've not been one or a pod of them through the area, that, you know, over the 2 days they can be there one day and they keep going and moving all the time looking for food. I'm quite confident that this weekend there hasn't been any carp come through. I think with the amount of action that you get on the method feeder, and obviously from the last session with Mark's setup that we talked about, we know how that works as well. We're not getting the bream but getting the carp. That if something was in the area, if something was coming through, I think over the 4 rods and the 2 nights we'd have picked something up. What does it bode for the future sessions? Well, last night showed me how busy it can be, and that was quite a cool night. It's only going to get hotter in the next couple of sessions, and the activity is going to get more. So I think it's about 2 weeks now till we're going to be on the bank again doing a session, and it's given me plenty to think about how I can you know, fish but reduce the amount of action from the bream, because you add up at some points last night, it was every 15 minutes that the rod was going off, and it was either a screaming one, there was nothing there, or a bream on the bank. So it's given me plenty to think about for the next session, going forward. Anyhow, I hope you've enjoyed the last 2 sessions on the bank. The last 2 videos have been completely different to me, from what I do. I'm presented new challenges with filming and recording, and yeah, so tight lines in your own fishing. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you all next time.